We are live. We are live. Welcome to college football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Flugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do us well, please subscribe to our channel, ring the notification bell, smash the like button. Smash the like button. Share the video if you want to support this college football independent national rebel outpost with a donation. Help us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Just hit that $ where you make your comment, and I will get to you super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody in the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. Welcome on in. It is a Sunday, April 12th. You know, last week was not the week I was expecting. Last week was not the week that I was told to expect. Remember on a Sunday night, I said something to the effect of, I've been told we were going to have at least a couple of big news items. Only one of those came through, and that was the chatter behind the curtain did know about that Monday phone call with Cantwell and Cruz and all those people involved in trying to get the SCORE Act passed. That meeting was Cantwell and Schmidt. But the other story, which I had not been told what it is, did not come to light this week. So I've asked about it. I said, look, I was told that, and it sounds like it's going to be this week. But again, the information is embargoed. I think it's pretty sensitive. Anyways, so I'm expecting a pretty big week this week. I was expecting it last week. But look, we were busy. PATC, we were busy, very busy, going over our final order of finish prediction, our college football playoff prediction, my predictions, which all of you, every single one of you agreed with me. All of you. Because you know this year is the year of Greg the Gold. Of Greg the Gold. Now the question is, Kayla Ramirez, is the mystery show about aliens or college football? Well, if I would tell you the answer, it would not be a mystery anymore. No, I'm just kidding, Caleb. I'm going to use one to describe the other. How about that? Seamlessly, I'm going to describe one to describe the other. The mystery deepens in the ACC. There is one story out there, one particular story out there, which has dumbfounded the chatter behind the curtain. It has dumbfounded the money purchase. It has dumbfounded B. Tim and his associates. It has dumbfounded everybody. In fact, no one even talks about it. There is one major story that is lurking out there in the ACC. No one's talking about it. Everyone's trying to pretend that the drones are not flying overhead of the ACC building, the title screen. Now look, is that a drone? Is that a drone? It says FSU on it. Is that a Florida State drone? The Clemson. Now that looks like a drone. And they're circling over the head of the ACC building. Are those really drones? And why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? What's their purpose? Is there some sort of threat? Is there some sort of criminal activity? Is it like more of a surveillance? Is it a blackmail? Is Florida State and Clemson, are they searching for something? What is going on? The ACC mystery deepens, and we're going to talk about it here at Peek Around the Corner on Sunday, April 12th. And again, I think it's going to be a more. Hopefully you are entertained today. Hopefully you are entertained tonight. We've got Carson. We are live. We are live. Thank you for the $2 holla. Thank you for starting us off, Carson. Very much appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. What corner are we on, Greg? Again, thank you for the super chat, Carson. You know what corner we're on. You know exactly what corner we're on here in the studios in PATC. Again, thank you for the $2 holler. I am your re-elected mayor of Louisville City, and we're in the studios that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Thank you so much, Carson. Thank you for starting us off. I appreciate it. Is that North Carolina lit up? Maybe. Is that a Florida State drone circling the building? I don't know. Is it? It's not really trying to hide itself, is it? There's lights on. What are we talking? What is this mystery? We're going to get into it in the second half of the monologue. Jimmy Austin. So the studio just moved across the street. That's almost accurate, by the way. The studio moved less than 5 minutes away. It takes me about 4 minutes to get to my mother's place. About 4 minutes away. So almost across the street. Not really. Down one street, down another street, down another street. Anyways, thanks for coming on in, Jimmy. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you coming on in. Two Masters in the house. Holy smokes, Bruce Harris, the Oklahoma State Cowboy. MBM Jago Blue is here. Nick, the Virginia Tech Hokie. Hey, Sickos is here, the Buckeye. Jared Jones is not afraid of my prediction that the Buckeyes are going to be the national champions. Ryan Brooks is not afraid of my prediction that LSU is going to get to the SEC championship game and be the 7th seed in the first year under Lane Kiffin at LSU. He's not afraid. The Big Gun Shop is never afraid because he's a Red Raider. He's got nothing to be afraid. There is no fear in the Big Gun Shop. Thanks for coming on in, Big Gun Shop. Daryl, CRH, Utah to the Big Ten. Okoria, yellow. I think he's talking about my yellow. Look, Dead-I-Yo. Let's be honest. Dead-I-Yo. Yo, Greg, yellow looks good on you, buddy. I appreciate that, but let's be honest. Every color looks good on me, but the Wisconsin Badgers colors. And by the way, that is our segue. That is our segue to the breaking news. I'm going to sneeze. Woo! Look at that. If it's about the Badgers, my body revolts. Wisconsin Athletic Director McIntosh is to take new position at the Big Ten. And I think this is worse news than you could possibly imagine. I don't like this one bit because I think I know where this is going. Ben Portnoy, the Sports Business Journal, broke this news about an hour ago. Wisconsin Athletic Director Chris McIntosh is slated to resign from his position immediately. All right? That's one important part of the story. Boy, I do not like this. Look, I hope I'm overreacting. You guys know that sometimes I do overreact. There's been times that I do overreact to a Gopher loss. Sometimes I overreact. I hope I'm overreacting on this. But I don't think so. Chris McIntosh is slated to resign from his position immediately and join the Big Ten as his newly created Deputy Commissioner for Strategy. Really? Deputy Commissioner for Strategy. Sports Business Journal has learned McIntosh will report directly to the commissioner. All right. We've got the title of the job, which I think is worthless. Created Deputy Commissioner for Strategy. But the other two important parts of it is, one, the position is immediately. It's not a 3-month. It's not a 6-month. McIntosh is leaving immediately. Wisconsin's got to replace him. Let's go. And number 2, McIntosh reports directly to Tony Petitti. I think you guys are picking up what I'm laying down. McIntosh's role will focus on shaping the board strategy of the league. Wisconsin Deputy Athletic Director Marcus Sudbury is likely to be named interim athletic director. McIntosh was in Las Vegas over the weekend for the Wisconsin men's hockey Frozen Four appearance. Flew back to Madison on Sunday. To be able to work for the University of Wisconsin and certainly have the last 5 years athletic director, blah, 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 blah. On the other hand, it's an incredible honor and an incredible opportunity to be able to transition to a position at the Big Ten and work for an incredible leader like Commissioner Petitti, blah, 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 blah. Now, the football team has had its struggles under the coach Luke Fickell in recent years. McIntosh and his senior leadership have been overseeing a number of successful initiatives on the business side of the athletic department. Those efforts include a recent 10-year, $104.5 million renewal with Under Armour. Okay. So, this is what I think is happening. I made a couple of calls after all this. And remember the old Tony Petitti trying to modernize the conference, trying to create this Big Ten enterprise? I think that's what this is. I think that's what this is going to be a part of. And I think McIntosh is going to have a major role in it. And it's got to be done immediately. It's being done immediately. He's got to join the Big Ten corporate office right now directly to Petitti. That's what I think this is. And I am not impressed with McIntosh. I've heard him talk. This is not an anti-Wisconsin Badger situation. Although I do have biasnesses. I hope that's not what this is, but it sure sounds like it. And I made a couple of calls, and one person agreed with me, and the other one thought maybe that's what it was. No confirmation. Yeah, I am. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. But then again, should I expect to ever be happy at my position of the re-elected mayor of Loserville City? It's an anti-gopher strategy. I think it is. I think it is. Greg is a gopher in a Badger world. I think you can say that. I think you can say that. That is a 100% pure mutiny in the picture. Ooh. Do you think so? Do you think so? We're going to get into that in a little bit here. The ACC mystery deepens. It deepens. Stephen McIntosh could not run the Wisconsin Athletic Director office correctly. I don't think he'll fare better with the Big Ten office. Yeah, I am not pleased with it. I think that's the general job that he's taken over. Okay. I do want to give us a quick roll call for everybody who's come on in. Bruce Harris, Boomer Sooner, MBM, Oklahoma State Cowboy, the Michigan Wolverine, Jay Go Blue, still celebrating. Jay Go Blue is still celebrating the men's basketball national championship. Nick, the Virginia Tech Hokie, Jared Jones, Ryan Bricks, Big Gun Shop, Rodney Richborg, Deadeye, Tumasta, Carson, thanks for the generosity. Appreciate it. Cal Bears is in the house. Cal Bears, did you notice where I've got California in my way too early ACC prediction? Just in case you missed the show, and I'm sure you didn't, Cal Bear. I'm sure you did not, but I got California at number 5. I've got California at number 5. And I think, I believe, it might be a little bit of a coward of the county that I do not have California at number 4. How about them apples, Cal Bears? How about them apples? Greg the Gold, Greg the Gold, Greg the Gold. Let's get it done, Golden Bears. Let's get it done. Don't make me look like a fool this year. Tom DeBay's in the house. Morris Simmons, Jensen Roberts, Hoosier Dave. Smile Time. Thanks for coming on in. MM101. Daniel Gorby. Thanks for coming on in. Daniel Gorby, I appreciate it. You know ball, Greg. You know that. You know that. You know that. Okay. Yeah, new head coach. All right. Let's get into the Deion Sanders. Before we get into that, the ACC mystery Deepens. Again, if you're just joining us, we already covered the breaking news that McIntosh, the former Wisconsin athletic director, is now going to be the deputy commissioner of Big Ten strategy. Bad news for the Big Ten. Bad news for my beloved Golden Gophers that McIntosh is leaving the position of athletic director at Madison. And I'm sure Ryan Willie is celebrating. I'm sure the evil Badger Ryan Willie, the evil Badger Jeff Olson, the evil Badger Mouth, the other Wisconsin. We got a lot of Wisconsinites. We got a lot of Badger people in our PATC family. A very good day for all of them. A very bad day for yours truly. We've got a super chat. We've got the Hoosier. The Sooner. I don't know why I keep calling you the Hoosier. Cope is a Oklahoma Sooner. Thank you for the $20 holler. Thank you for the super chat. Genetics posted on SEC, formerly looking at adding California Stanford before the ACC eventually did. I've never heard of this. Is this possible the SEC may be more open to look west after the ACC adds down the road? Well, we talked about it yesterday. The SEC has thirst for new lands. And I don't think that thirst is going to be quenched anytime soon. I've never heard of this California Stanford. No. But, again, what do you expect? No. No. But I do think that the SEC is going to have to, they will increase their footprint. And they might go west, young man, like we talked about on yesterday's live show. Stanford to the SEC, that's not going to happen. The SEC would never even formally talk about it. I cannot even imagine that. Hey, Oklahoma Sooner, Cope, I appreciate your incredible generosity once again. Man, you are incredibly kind to this program, and I do appreciate it. Mr. Sooner, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we got another massive super chat. My goodness, the Oklahoma State Cowboy. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. $50 holla. $50 holler. I saw Primetime speak at a church in OKC back in the 1990s. By the way, is the Oklahoma City Thunder going to win another NBA title? Back-to-back? McElroy just won back-to-back Masters. So the Thunder I think they got a very good chance of going back-to-back. Anyways, MBM, I appreciate your incredible generosity. I saw Primetime speak at a church in Oklahoma City back in the 90s. He talked about money not buying happiness, driving his Lambo over a bridge and finding God. I believe Deion is a man of integrity. He needs to focus on his health now. I agree. Maybe the one thing that we disagree on, MBM, and I don't know if we disagree on this, but focusing on your health. Focusing on your health doesn't necessarily mean having to give up the head coaching duties. Now, maybe it does. But sometimes, doing what you love, staying busy, all that is about health as well. It's a very stressful job. I mean, being a head coach of a college football program, of a Power 4 college football program, of a G6 program, man, that is a lot of stress. So, I don't know. But I do agree with you. I think the man, I have not hid my faith. We're all the children of God, and Deion is he's a unique one, just like all of us. And it's got to be difficult. I would never know how this feels. I would never have to carry this burden, but it's got to be difficult for somebody who reached such a level of greatness at a particular job or whatever he did. I mean, Deion Sanders reached greatness that hardly anybody has ever touched before. And once you get to that greatness, and now you're trying to teach young men and young women to, strive for that greatness, even though they're never going to get to where he was. I mean, that's a challenge. And I think Deion Sanders, I listened to him once. He had a speech, this was years ago. He talking about how, to become a slave to what you do. Become a slave to your family. Become a slave to your beliefs. Don't become a slave to the drugs. Don't become a slave to the money. Don't become a slave to the fame. And then that means you can focus on being the best that you can be. So I agree with MBM. I agree. Now, we're going to get into an article here real quick about how the honeymoon is over. And I think that's okay. I mean, I think I think everybody knows that. And we're going to talk about it. Now, he has been such a great punch of adrenaline, punch of passion, punch of juice to the Colorado Buffalo football program and to the whole athletic department and to the whole university. And he has done a lot for the universities. They're paying him a lot of money, but he's done a lot. Let's be honest, that viewership, that the student population, the article talks about it. And so and we got to remember where the Colorado football program was before he got there. It was in the dump. Going to be an interesting year. Now, I've got them in my way too early predictions. I got them dead last. But again, maybe I'm Greg the Cooler. I was with Arizona State. By the way, Colts, Arizona State. I had Arizona State dead last in my way too early predictions 2 years ago. And what happened to Arizona State? They won the Big 12 championship, and they be an eyelash away from defeating the Texas Longhorns in that playoff game. What was that, a 4th and 13? Texas completion, I think it was for a touchdown. Anyways, thank you, MBM. I agree with you, MBM. I absolutely agree with you. Thank you for the incredible generosity and kindness. More news, by the way, coming out about Oklahoma State hockey program. Bill G, the incredible Bill G, has sent me more information. That booster, McCann, I think it's McCann. I might be mispronouncing that. I apologize. McCann. Look, when you got a rich dude who's really committed to college hockey, it can happen. It happened at Penn State. I shouldn't say all you got to do. You got to get that arena. And then the other stuff kind of flows, right? The scholarships. Then you have to set some sort of endowment to say, Oklahoma State hockey, the men's hockey program, we might have to build a women's hockey Division I program, or we got to build some other women's sponsored program because of Title IX. But whatever the losses are, and the losses are going to be like $5, $6, $7 million a year if you have both programs, those losses got to be taken out of this endowment, this certain setup, so it doesn't affect the other parts of the athletic department at Stillwater. I kind of think it's going to happen because of the way this guy's talking. And it sounds like he's got the bank account to back it up. And that is going to be a wonderful thing. To go to a college hockey game, Division I college hockey game, and just see the speed on the ice and the hitting and the effort. Don't matter if you're down 4-0. I mean, as a college student, and even as as an adult, man, go to a couple hockey games. And you're gonna you got the band sitting there. I mean, it just is quite the event. It just costs so much money to set up, and it does not bring in the money, except for if you go for a hockey program, because of all the sponsorship money. But maybe someday Oklahoma State, maybe the hockey program would grow so big that maybe it would happen to where at least it would break even. I'm excited for people in Stillwater. Cope, oh my goodness, Cope. My goodness. Massive super chat. Holy smokes. $100 holla. Ha Boomer Sooner and Forks Up. I keep forgetting that as well. Cope is a Sooner and a Sun Devil. I gotta get that right. Thank you, Cope. My goodness. Wow. Thank you for your incredible support on the Sunday, April 12th. Wow. Culture Provocateur has got it absolutely right. What happened to my, there we go. Absolutely correct. Wow. Wow. Thank you, Cope. Thank you, Cope. Thank you, MBM. My goodness. I don't know what to say. I'm very humbled. Very humbled by your generosity, Cope. My goodness. Night of Cypher. I'm just tired of my Huskers being absolute trash. I don't know what to say. I predicted Nebraska to go 8-4 last year and 8-4 the year before, and they just could not get it done. I am not optimistic about Nebraska this year. I'm not. I am one of the very few out there that don't believe in Anthony Calandria in the Big Ten. I don't want you upset with me, Knight of Cypher. I was a Dylan Raiola fan. I get it. He hung on to the ball too long. I get all that. But, man, that guy had such talent. He has such talent. And it's not like he played horrible. There's other problems. You're going from Calandra to Raiola. You're losing Emmett Johnson. I do understand, though. You got Mosey and you got that Rule, the freshman. I forget what his name is. You've got some guys, but you got you got more of a difficult schedule. Last year's schedule is where the Cornhuskers should have turned it around. I don't know. I'm just not. We'll see. We'll find out. MBM, I think hockey would boom in Oklahoma. MBM, Michael Mann. Yellow is better than black. Well, I'm the man in black. I am the man in black until the Gophers win a men's national championship. Just like Johnny Cash, I wear it for the ones who have grown tired and old, who can't get themselves up the mat. I wear the black for the ones that I can't remember the words. But I am Johnny Cash of the college football world, of college sports world. I will continue to wear black until Gophers men's sports can win another national championship. Culture provocateur, Mr. Colorado Buffalo's in the house. I think Deion steps back a bit and takes on more of a GM type role while staying head coach. I think Brennan Marion will assume more responsibility. And that's the most interesting part about Colorado this year. Julian Lewis with Brennan Marion and my mind is gone. That really good, I watched him a couple of times last year, that really good transfer wide receiver from San Jose State, and that name has completely left my brain. But that whole situation, the Brennan Marion thing, the offensive coordinator with Lewis and that wide receiver, that can get mighty interesting. I do agree with that. Somebody tell me who the transfer wide receiver is from San Jose State before I lose my mind, that went to Colorado. When it rains, it pours. My God, today we see you cope. I speak for others when I say thank you on behalf of the PATC community. Can I get a boomer sooner? Thank you so much, Cope. I appreciate it. Scuduro, thank you so much, Culture. I appreciate it. He's a good wide receiver. He's got some skills. How do I know this? Because I watched them last year, and the Gophers got a San Jose State transfer wide receiver, but I was hoping they would get this guy, and they did not. So again, I mean, that's going to be an interesting situation. Let's get to that Deion Sanders story. We'll go through that real quick, and then we'll get to the headliner. Keeler, Deion Sanders football honeymoon in Boulder is over, Colorado Buff students say. The Denver Post, Julian Lewis and Danny Scuduro were big hits in Colorado's 2026 spring game. But let's just say some undergrads remain skeptical of Coach Prime after a 3-9 stinker last season. Nothing kills a honeymoon like waking up next to a 3-9 for 5 months. There's no welcome look in Elizabeth Steffen's eyes when she reaches for her Colorado shirt. And now she's starting to criticize little things Deion Sanders does. We're not anything new and shiny anymore. Stefan, a Colorado sophomore, told me as the 2026 black and gold scrimmage kicked off Saturday at Folsom Field. We're just kind of a mediocre team that somehow still makes headlines because of our coach. I think the honeymoon is definitely not going anymore, personally. A Minneapolis native and one of those out-of-staters whose parents dogged her going to Colorado, in part after watching the Sanders effect from afar. I think the honeymoon phase has ended, and they're really struggling to try to keep it up, in my opinion. You know the signs: the passion fades, the glow dims, the little things you used to overlook start to get on your nerves. Expectations don't always line up. Communication can be blunt and awkward. As someone who came from a Big Ten school culture, there's a lack of culture here in general for football, Stefan continued. It kind of feels like for me students, it's like show up, it's a fashion show, smoke, drink, leave. The lower bowl of Folsom East Side was pretty much full. The upper section of the bleachers, not so much, mind you. That was also by design. The west side of the stadium was roped off entirely so that the 50% of capacity was scrunched onto one half of the building, and the eye test made it smaller, seemed smaller, like a lot smaller. That's not just us, Sanders said after the scrimmage, and he's absolutely correct. These spring football games are growing smaller and smaller in size when it comes to fans going to the games. Deion Sanders is absolutely correct. No one's valuing spring football games anymore. You've got several major colleges not even having spring games. The only thing that would bring it back is if we were compete against another school, which again, they've been talking about it, but they could not get it passed. In the NCAA, they could not get it passed. I wonder what happened if everybody went in their own silos. Maybe it would pass. Winning also helps increase that interest. But perhaps get tired of the same old at a certain point. Things are so different in college football right now with the kids moving, kids leaving. It's so hard for the fan base to get to know all these kids and to buy in and say, you know what? I'm going to support that. Now he's gone. So I understand it wholeheartedly. But we have a tremendous fan base here at Colorado. We have a tremendous student body. We still have a lot of people out there that are crazy about college, about Colorado football, and I'm excited about that. Deion Sanders, the head coach. 10 people said Omaha native Jess Wozniak, a Folsom first-timer whose son played alto sax in the pep band Saturday. When we first got here, I was like, wow, there's not that many people. Now it's filling up. Now it's looking better. I think the hype for Deion is still there. I feel like it's filling up. So the hype has got to be here still somewhere, right? It's also a free ticket, I noted. Oh, true, she laughed. I didn't think about that. Garrett Tyrell of Durango, sitting to her right, piped up. Put it this way, he said, the old man is still watching. So are the kids. Stefan and fellow Colorado sophomore Colin Chow hiked it up to the top of section 213 to get an area view of the Ralphie's run. But Buffalo. Now long after, Buffs quarterback Julian Lewis opened the scoring for the day with a 13-yard scoring touch pass in the back of the end zone to Danny Scudero, the former San Jose State star, and arguably the jewel of the Coach Prime's transfer hall. I think 2026 could be better than last fall, Stefan reflected. I don't think it's going to be better than 24 with Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. That was an insane year. A lot of culture. It was really fun. Everyone was excited going to every game. But 2025, not so much. There were a couple of games we went into. We were like, Colorado's going to lose. Might as well show up. Stefan stayed for the Buffs' home finale against Arizona State last fall, all the way to the bitter end of the 42-17 defeat. Her dad, a Badgers alum, taught her never to leave early. And I was like, this stinks, she laughs. Chow grew up nearby, but Stefan's parents were so enamored of Coach Prime experience that they flew down to attend the games just to see Sanders up close. I think part of it too is that Deion isn't really as new or as much of a novelty now, Stefan said. He's been here as long as a lot of students who go to the games. That's cool, but it's not the same Deion coming in and saving it from what it was earlier. So it's just a different feel when new students come in. There are expectations now instead of it being the new cool thing. At 11:35 a.m., about 90 minutes before the scrimmage, a 20-something in a blue t-shirt looked at the line forming across the street and waved at me. "Excuse me," he asked, nodding back to Folsom behind us. "So what is the event today?" "Keeler, Denver Post. Colorado's black and gold game," I replied. "Spring football." "Okay, thanks." He shrugged, turned on his heel, and walked away. Never saw him again. Sometime reality bites. Now, I did see in the comments section that Keeler and Deion Sanders does not have the best relationship. But I do remember, even being up here in Minnesota, I do remember there was some kerfuffle in his reporting between himself and Deion Sanders. So, you know how it is. We've all got biasness. The Denver Post, maybe this author in particular, has an axe to grind. But I think we all can come to an agreement that the honeymoon is over. Not the complete juice. There is still some excitement. There's still eyes on Colorado. There's no question about that. Deion Sanders overall has had an incredible positive effect on the Colorado football program and the university and the athletic department. I don't think there's any question about that. And let's just take up let's just take a look at the wins and losses. Take a look at the wins and losses before Deion Sanders got there. A dramatic improvement. So the honeymoon is over, and now the real work of the marriage starts this year. It's going to be interesting. Again, I like that offensive coordinator. Really intriguing. Got Colorado another Heisman. Absolutely. My bad. I should have mentioned that. Travis Hunter. Absolutely. Alex Armstead. Here's the reality. Colorado's not going to be very good this year. I got them dead last, so we'll find out. Okay, let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it, gals. Let's get into it. I want to make sure that I've got... I got everything there. Making sure I got everything there. Okay. All right. Let's have some fun here. All right, let's have some fun on a Sunday, April 12th. The ACC mystery deepens. Caleb Ramirez, early in the program, Mr. Buckeye asked me, "Are you talking about aliens? Are you talking about college football?" Well, let's mix in the two. Well, I'm not talking about aliens, but I'm talking about a mystery. Skywatch Signal. Skywatch Signal put out this post earlier today. Mystery drones over Dutch gold vault and royal residence raising questions. Once again, drones are flying over places that they should not be flying over. They're flying over restricted airspace. It's a coordinated effort, and nobody can bring these drones down. This flap didn't happen over farmland. It did not happen over farmland or some empty stretch of coastline. It happened over one of the most controlled pieces of ground in the Netherlands. Over the course of a single weekend in November, multiple unidentified drones were observed moving across a cluster of highly sensitive sites. According to documents obtained, and I'm going to mispronounce all of these words. I do apologize to the Netherlands, to the Dutch, to the Amsterdams, to all of you. I do apologize. According to the documents obtained by the Koninklijke Maria Chassis, 3 drones were tracked on the same evening over Camp New Amsterdam in Drakensberg Castle. Camp New Amsterdam houses the gold reserves at De Nederlandse Bank, thousands of bars, millions in stored value, and a security footprint designed to deter exactly this kind of intrusion. All of this security is supposed to deter this exact type of intrusion. But it did not deter it. It could not stop it. It's also home to a specialized unit tasked with protecting high-ranking officials and operating in high-risk environments. A short distance from there is Drakensberg Castle, the private residence of Princess Beautreilles, whatever. Some princess. 2 locations with completely different functions, but both of which were under surveillance from the air on the same night, and it didn't stop there. That same week, an additional drone activity was reported over Volkel Air Base and Eindhoven Air Base, both of which carry their own strategic importance. Around the same time, sightings were also logged over the country's largest gas extraction site near Oman, operated by Gasnui. So, what we are seeing is incursions over a financial reserve, royal residence, military installations, and energy infrastructure, all of which occurred within a tight time frame. The official line is, of course, the usual possibilities floated included hobbyist drones drifting into restricted zones, criminal surveillance, or something more deliberate. No arrests have been made. Of course not. They can't find these people. No origin confirmed. Of course not. They can't track these. They can't even track these on radar. And no clear explanation offered that ties all of these incursions together. By now, the lack of clarity is something that we are used to seeing, because this isn't a single drone crossing a boundary line. This is a coordinated presence over multiple high-value targets in multiple sectors across a single weekend. Random hobbyists do not behave like that, especially in restricted airspace where enforcement is taken seriously. The official response behind the scenes suggests they're not treating these incursions lightly. The Dutch Ministry of Defense has accelerated procurement of counter-drone systems. Oh, of course, but it ain't going to do no good. It ain't going to do no good, including radar detection, electronic jamming capabilities. Again, it doesn't bring these down. And interceptor drones designed to physically disable airborne targets. None of this has worked. None of this has worked anywhere in Europe, anywhere in the United States, It did not work in New Jersey. At the same time, recruitment has opened for specialized drone operators. So MBM, Cope, the rest of you, Tumasta, you all can apply to become specialized drone operators. That kind of response doesn't come from isolated incidents that are considered to be hobbyists. It comes from a shift in how the threat is being assessed. So what is it? What's obviously still missing is a tribute. Whoever and whatever was behind these flights knew where to go. They did not just stumble across sensitive locations. They actively targeted or monitored them. Financial, political, military, energy, infrastructure are all a huge flag. Despite all of that, publicly, it remains unresolved. And that's where this starts to feel all too familiar. Across Europe over the past year, similar reports have surfaced. Drones over restricted zones in Denmark, Germany, Belgium. Short bursts of activity, no clear ownership, no follow-up resolution. Each case treated individually, but always followed up publicly with a nothing burger. Given the locations, we already have an idea of what these so-called drones were doing. But how were they able to operate across that many protected sites in that short a window without being intercepted or traced in real time? How? There is a capability gap. And when that gap shows up over gold reserves, royal residences, air bases, and critical energy infrastructure all at once, it starts looking like a systems level issue. So what exactly is going on? We can't track or trace them. We can't take them down. Other than reconnaissance, they appear to have done nothing hostile. Okay. Shut your mouth. What's the point of this news? Is Greg trying to tell us the ACC is about to drone strike the Dutch? No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to illustrate how deep the mystery is in the ACC. Hopefully in my own unique and informative and entertaining way. The drone mystery is a massive mystery that nobody has been able to solve. These drones have come in and out of the most sensitive installations, and not one of them have been taken down. Not over Langley in Virginia, not over New Jersey, not over any place in Europe and Germany. Not one drone has been taken down. Not one drone has been traced to the origin of where they took off and where they landed. There's a capability gap. It's a huge mystery. All this stuff is going on in college football, right? We got a potential silo here. We got possible realignment there. The Big Ten has got plans. The SEC's got plans. But the biggest mystery of them all, the one that keeps the reporters and the chatter behind the curtain, they keep asking why, and they can't get an answer. They understand who the SEC targets are. They just don't know how it's all going to unfold. They understand the Big Ten's big target list and who they would like to have if they could. They know the whole Notre Dame situation. But none of us really know how it's all going to play out. I made a prediction, not a report. Everyone's got their own opinion on it. We're tracking certain stories. We are tracking certain activities. But the biggest mystery in all of this, that nobody can truly explain is the ACC and the part in the settlement, the Florida State and Clemson's massive victory in the courts, the part in which they and at least 4 other schools can leave the conference, and form a one sport, it would be football, a football conference of 6 or more teams. No one is, I do know of people who have tried to get an answer on this. It is much deeper than, Florida State and Clemson, they just try to do that. They just try to do that because just in case a Super League formed, they want to be able to get out of the ACC and jump into the Super League. That answer, it does not fly. It doesn't. It doesn't work. There's something else that is going on. They wanted that option to be open. The question is, let's get more into this option. Let's get more into this. Let's go back to the reporting of it. For some reason, my mouse is acting up. Let's get back into it. Because some people might have just a quick summary. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Hold on. I'm going to have to do this another way. Okay. In this settlement, let's see if I can do it this way here. Key details of the ACC settlement agreement. Limited withdrawal option. If 6 or more members decide to leave for another single sport conference, the exit fee would be substantially reduced, offering a pathway for a partial departure. Reduce exit fee. The cost to leave under these terms is reported to be either $75 million or 50% of the current withdrawal fee, whichever is higher, making the departure more feasible for top-tier schools looking to switch leagues. Now, on June 1st of 2026, I don't know if it would be, I don't know if we're down to 147 million to get out for a school. So again, it would be, it might be at 75 million. We're just going to call it 75 million. It might be a few $1 million more, but we're just going to call it 75 million for sake of discussion. 75 million to get out of the conference. They join a one sport, single sport conference. That is part of the settlement. Now, if you're not going to do that, if you are going to join the SEC or the Big Ten, it's going to cost you $147 million, or whatever the number is at the time. It goes down about $18 million per year. It's a sliding scale until 2031. Then it's a flat rate of $75 million every year after that, from 31 to 2036. But if you leave for this single sport conference, it's $75 million. Now, when they did this deal, and let's go back to it. Let's talk about it just a little bit more here. Strategic movement. This structure specifically aids schools like Florida State, Clemson, and potentially others, such as Miami or North Carolina, that have sought more lucrative, competitive, or independent avenues for football. And Florida State has looked at the independent value, but it is mighty difficult. It is mighty difficult. And it's going to get more difficult. And we'll get back into that later. Impact on the future. The agreement offers the ACC temporary stability through 31 to 36, but sets the stage for a potential smaller Super League structure rather than a full immediate collapse. Why am I bringing all of this up tonight on April 12th? Yogi Buck, it could also be a single sport association that could sell TV rights. Yeah. To conferences. Okay. Here's the deal. The mystery is, why did Clemson and Florida State, with probably the support of North Carolina, make sure that this was part of the settlement? Now, the answer that usually people bring up is, well, because Florida State, they wanted to make sure if a Super League was created that they could get out and join the Super League. The chances of a Super League ever being created was always 2% at best. There's more to it than this. And the reason why we're talking about it tonight is because eventually we're going to have more and more conversations, you and I, back and forth, no matter how much we like it, no matter how much we don't like it. We're going to be forced into having these discussions around silos. And if you're talking about a single conference governing themselves, remember, in this agreement, if Florida State would move to an 8-team football-only conference, and let's say all 8 schools came from the ACC, Florida State would be able to keep their Olympic sports in the ACC, and the ACC would have to accept this arrangement. Florida State's Olympic sports would still be covered by the ACC network. None of that would change. Florida State's basketball, and all decisions on Florida State basketball would be under the guidance of Jim Phillips. But football, a single sport football conference in which it would cost $75 million to get out this year, or a couple of $1 million more, either way, whatever. This silo football conference would be able to make their own decisions. Football-friendly programs, and there would be a new conference with a new Tier 1 media arrangement with whoever, with a streaming company, with whatever. Getting back to the picture. My mouse is really acting up. I apologize. My mouse, I'm going to have to get some new batteries in here. The drones that are flying around ACC building. Now, are they threatening the ACC? No. Are they searching for something? No, they've already gotten what they wanted. But are they keeping their presence known? Is there something still going on? This is the great mystery. Is this still a possibility? The Florida State, our Florida State money perch says yes. He's always said this was a possibility. North Carolina. We know there's a faction that North Carolina does not want to break away from a North Carolina State, would not want to break away from a Duke. And of course North Carolina State would be a part of this. You can right now you can say it's going to be the magnificent 7 schools and plus another one or plus another 3 schools, an 8-team, 10-team conference. And Duke would probably be a part of it. But maybe not. But North Carolina State would definitely be a part of it. And they can get their own TV rights. Florida State and Clemson, North Carolina, Miami, if they are not able to bridge the gap, if they don't want to wait for an SEC Big Ten invite, if they want to try to get out now with a $75 million and get into a new conference that won't have an exit fee, so now they can get really out if they want to make another jump to the Big Ten and the SEC. No one really knows. That's the point. It's an absolute mystery still today. There has been direct questions asked about this. And there's really not an answer. It's much more than a Super League. This was not just about a Super League, if any of it was about a Super League. It was about Florida State and Clemson making sure that they created an exit hatch just in case they did not get a lot of warm love from the SEC and the Big Ten. Remember, Clemson and Florida State went to the courts to see what type of answer they would get from the Big Ten and the SEC. I happen to believe that both of them are going to end up at the Southeastern Conference. I could be dead wrong. We do know that the SEC Conference is looking for new land to increase their footprint, new states. But there is this ACC mystery that is deepening right now with the talks of silos. Because now a Florida State and a Clemson can even have more power in their hands to make the decisions in the future that affect their football programs the most. People are looking at it. People can't get an answer. And that's the strange part about it. The chatter behind the curtain cannot get an answer on this. Go back, if you have time. Interesting, Texas Tech and Utah would also love to join a football-only conference as well. Go back and listen to John Kurtz's interview with Ross Dellinger of a couple of years ago during the Big 12 media days. I think it was the Big 12 media days. And listen to Ross Dellinger's answer on what Florida State and Clemson were trying to accomplish by going to the courts. He brought up the fact that, they would like to have an opportunity to talk with the Big Ten and the SEC, but they would also like to. Ross Dellinger told John Kurtz, who does an incredible job, unbelievable job. Ross Dellinger said to John Kurtz, I will never forget it, he said, also to potentially create a reimagined ACC or something to that effect. Exactly what North Carolina talked about on the night of June 30th, 2022, when we all found out that UCLA and USC was joining the Big Ten, in which Brian Murphy of WRAL did the FOIA request to get that communication out in the open. They talked about, at the time, it was Kevin Gusowich and Bubba Cunningham talking about a possible reimagine a contracted ACC. That's what this is. The mystery is, how much of a possibility is this, and is the possibility growing because of the silo that could be coming? So that is what we wanted to talk about tonight. I try to do it in an entertaining manner to first bring up the drones that no one knows what's going on, and the drones, Florida State and Clemson flying around the ACC building. So would ASU. Who knows? Some cross-pollination between the Big 12 and the ACC. Who knows? Let me get to a few of your comments here. I'm not going to be able to take phone calls. We, the little general and I, we've got other stuff we got to get done tonight. But I do want to thank Carson, Cope, MBM for your generosity. Very much appreciated. I appreciate all you guys coming in. Again, not going to be taking phone calls, but I will be taking some comments. And again, you know how it works. Option 3, keeping options available. Rod Nix. MGC Sooners in the house. Kalani is in the house. The 6 will be used as a bridge. It could all be just a bridge to get out cheaper. $75 million to get out, and then you make sure there's no exit fee to get out again, Yogi Buck, in a couple of years. Interesting. But people are wondering in this world of the silo, how serious is this option? Okay. And we'll talk about more about this tomorrow. We're going to have a big week this week. Again, Sunday, April 12th. We'll talk about again on this Monday, April 13th. I wonder if Notre Dame would join, if it was just Notre Dame and 6 others. I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing they won't. But then again, we don't know what we don't know. This silo world, this silo era that we might be entering into, if the Nebraska 18 wins their arbitration, if we can't get the SCORE Act passed, the SEC might be acting on Memorial Weekend, for God's sakes. We might be heading down in that direction. And if we're heading down in that direction, and the Southeastern Conference does not act in expanding their conference, or if they expand in their conference and it's a small scoop, not a big scoop, and Florida State and Clemson are still sitting there, and the Big Ten decides to go in a different direction, and you've got those beachheads, you've got those valuable pieces of Florida State and Clemson and possibly Miami, and you've got a Utah and an emerging Texas Tech, and you've got this idea of getting out and forming a one-sport conference. Who knows? Who knows we do not know. We're talking about going in uncharted waters. The great ACC mystery deepens, headed into the silo. Pack Ranger, Magnificent 7 plus Duke, Georgia Tech, and Louisville. That could be. Jamel Da Soul Blazer, thanks for coming on in. Appreciate it. Doc Rivers officially out of Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Bucks. All right, guys, we're going to close it up here. We've been on the air for an hour and 18 minutes. I was going to try to keep this show for an hour. The little general and I are very busy this evening. I gotta go. But again, I just wanted to have an entertaining discussion. But it is true that the mystery is deepening in an ACC. What is going on with that clause in that settlement? An opportunity, an option for a one-sport conference entity. It's out there. It can be done. Kenneth Maynard, I appreciate the $10 holler. Florida State, Miami, Clemson. North Carolina State, Duke, Virginia, Tech, Louisville from the ACC, Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, Colorado, Arizona. Look, if the conference gets too big, then the value how much more value are going to, I think if they do this, I don't think the number is going to get past 10. Just my opinion. I definitely don't think we'd get past 12. Just my opinion. Thank you, Ken Manning. Thank you for the $10 holler. 16-team valuable football conference. But what would those Big 12 schools do with their Olympic sports? Because in the ACC agreement, Florida State and Clemson and those schools are able to keep their Olympic sports in the ACC conference. That was a very important part of that settlement. The Big 12 don't have that guarantee. Don't have that guarantee. Thank you, Yon B. Hey, Greg, what happened to reporting with the Nebraska possibly getting kicked out the Big Ten? We did about 3 live shows on that because Nebraska beat writers kept talking about it. In every one of those live shows, I said I do not believe that's even a possibility. So I did not, I never believed. I even went in and looked at how a team gets expelled out of the Big Ten. And Nebraska not being an AAU school, that's not part of their expulsion policy in the Big Ten. So my reporting stopped on it because Nebraska beat writers stopped talking about it. Their president stopped talking about it. Remember, President Carter talked about it, and then their interim president talked about it. Steve Sipple talked about the possibility. Trev Alberts talked about the possibility. That's why we were reporting on it. But I do not believe that's even a possibility. So that's what happened to my reporting. It stopped when the Nebraska people stopped talking about it. Okay, guys, I appreciate you all coming on in. Again, we'll see you tomorrow, Monday, April 13th. Before you leave, please subscribe to our channel, ring the notification bell, smash the like button. I appreciate you all coming on in. Until next time, from all of us at PATC, to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much. And as always, God, family, golden gold.